Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to another edition of Darwin's Sales Expert Podcast. So, what do we want to talk about this week? We want to talk about something that's really, really important when it comes to prospecting for new business. And that's how to write subject lines and emails that generate results. So you might think, oh, that's a bit specific, James. Why are you being so specific? A, because it's a pet hate of mine that I see so many people get this badly wrong. And B, it's something I train my teams on and the people I work with on. And when you do it in the right way, it gets results. And my objective is always in this podcast for you to get great results from the information that I share so that you can win more business and achieve what you want to. And the reality is that if you do put in place some of the things I'm going to talk about, you're going to stand a better chance of getting a result. Now, I should caveat that by better chance. Let me just ask you this question. If I was to ask you, what do you think the response rate is on cold emails of people you don't know, so people you're trying to do business with, cold emails, what do you think it is? Now, I'm not going to wait for too long because obviously the podcast will go on forever and a day, but what do you think the average response rate is? So studies show at the moment that it's less than, between 1 and 3% at best. So in other words, for every 100 emails you send out, okay, on average, between 1 and 3 people will respond to that email. So if you've got to generate 20 leads, you've probably got to send out nearly, what's my maths, let's say, 800, 900 emails for that to get a response and reaction, which is why a lot of companies tend to send automated emails that are, quite frankly, a load of crap. Okay, and I'm going to be very blunt with you. So many emails that I see that are automated are just a load of rubbish. They are automated, and the reason being is because they know those numbers, right? They know that 1 or 2 out of every 100 are going to get a result. So I guess the strategy that I'm sort of saying to you here is you have got 2 choices. You can continue to throw plenty of shit at the wall and hope that some of it sticks. Or the other approach you can try and take is a bit more of a personalised, more unique approach that's relevant to the audience and that's a little bit more detailed and just has a little bit more of a focus with some different elements to it, which can get reactions and results. And if you then combine email alongside calling and social media and other forms of prospecting, you've got a better chance of getting a response from that person. Now, I should state to you as well that people say to me, oh, I send emails and then get a reaction and result. And I say, okay, how many have you sent? And they tell me, oh, I sent 2. I'm like, wow, so you sent 2 emails and you've given up. So industry, again, stats show that 80% of sales are done on the 5th to the 12th interaction. So let me repeat that. 80% of sales are done on the 5th to the 12th interaction. And that was from a study done, I think, about 7 years ago. I actually think it's even more now. So in other words, if you want to send 1 or 2 emails and expect a reaction and response, then I'm saying to you, don't bother, don't waste your time. Because it's highly unlikely that people are going to react. Even with some of the tips and tools that I'm going to give you now on how to write emails and subject lines, it's highly unlikely that someone is going to react and respond to you straight away. So if you're not prepared for this to be a bit of a long haul journey, then don't bother doing it, or bring someone in. I can help you with my team at Growth Resourcing to help you do that for you and build the opportunities. But the reality is it does take some time. And also, email on its own doesn't work. But email can work, or it can create some intrigue, it can create some curiosity if you do it in a way that's a bit more personalised, a bit more relevant, a bit more specific, and that focuses on a few key points, which we'll cover off now. So, let's talk about the subject line first and foremost. Subject lines are really, really important and to get. And what a subject line is there to do, it's there a little bit in a way to, it's like the teaser of a film. You know, when you go to the cinema and you see a film trailer that you think, oh, wow, and it lasts for a minute and you think, wow, well, I want to go and see that film. That's what a subject line needs to do. Its job is to get you into to read the rest of the email. Or in the trailer's case in the cinema, the trailer's job is to get you in to watch the film. Now, I've seen some trailers that were great, brilliant. They did a really clever job of getting in and talking about what they were going to cover off in the film was going to do. And I got to watch the film and I thought, whoa, what a load of crap. So the reality is sometimes the trailer doesn't reflect the video, or the film. And the reality is sometimes the subject line won't also get may create attention, but it won't necessarily get the result that you want. But you need one to drive the other. And there are some studies shown. I can't remember. I think it was Sales Loft that did this study, and they showed basically on a chart the percentage chance of a reply, depending on the amount of words that you have in the subject line. So a lot of people will put a subject line saying, "I'd like to do business with you over the course to they'd say, "I'd like to discuss a commercial partnership with you about new opportunity X, Y, and Z." And the subject line is so long, and it's basically pretty boring. It's all about someone just wanted my time or whatever else. And most people in those positions are going to delete it and not even going to look at the email. So what Sales Loft think showed is it's subject lines that have between 0 and 5 words. And again, I'll try and show the image of this in the podcast episode. So if you're looking online, you want to see in the show notes, I'll show you the image of this. That between 0 and 5 words get on average, I think it was like a 40% better open rate than words that have more than 5. The subject lines that have more than 5 words. So and actually, it was shown that subject lines that have 0 or 1 word or 2 words get huge amounts of opens. So you might think it's weird to have a subject line that says this mug, okay, or a podcast. But those subject lines are far more likely in studies and results and research they did on all the emails that were sent to get more opens than a subject line that says a podcast which covers X, Y, and Z. So again, this isn't my data. This is data from people that analyze and look at all the ins and outs of this information. So they identified that subject lines less than 5 words need that. So what does that mean for you? If you are sending emails to prospects with very long subject lines, I would say stop it. It's not working. But the chances of it working are highly unlikely, as I've already mentioned, and therefore the chance of what you're doing is just not going to get the results you want. What I might do, though, however, and this leads on into the point around as we come on into the email, the goal of the subject line is to create some curiosity. The goal of the subject line is to create that trailer for the film, as we talked about. So one of the examples that I will share, and again, I'll share a screenshot of this, is some emails that I've been working on for a campaign for an insurance company I work with who work with surgeons. And we have some stats in the business that are interesting. So we created an email subject line that said 24% more, and that was the subject line. We also had a study that we did that showed 1 in 3 surgeons had a claim made against them. So we put a subject line that said 1 in 3. And the whole goal of that subject line is to create, when the person sees it and goes 1 in 3, what does that mean? What's that all about? It's to hook them in. It's that curiosity part to bring them into the podcast, into the email, and to be able to have a look at what you then got to share within the email itself. So make the subject lines less than 5 words, 5 to 6 words if you can, and focus on creating some curiosity in there. And this might take a bit of tweaking, a bit of work, but another idea you could put in there would be buyers that do this care, or 1,054 people did this last year. So that's 5, okay? So you're trying to create this curiosity, or 7 out of 10 HR directors fail at this. So that's a bit longer, but it's a curiosity-based subject line. And your job is not to tell them everything you're going to tell them in the email, but to get them to open the email first and foremost. So really think about your subject lines. If you want to reach out to me, I might even I think I've already created a subject line guide. If I haven't, then I might even create a guide on some different subject lines. If that would be interesting to you, by the way, let me know. Put it in the comment section. Reach out to me on social media, James White Sales. If you would find it useful to have a subject lines guide, I will create one and share with everyone so you can get better responses with your emails. But the reality is the subject line's got to capture people in. Now, as we move then on to the email, here's another thing to think about. When again, studies show, and I'll show there's a heat map that's come out of this. Studies show that people read things in emails in what they call an F pattern. So if you can imagine an F, the capital F, you've got the long, line down at the bottom, and then you've got a bigger line at the top, and then a small line in the middle to represent the letter F. And what that basically shows is when people are reading emails, they start by reading toward the, if we look at this, they start by reading on the left-hand side and they read across to the right. Now, I appreciate this is different in certain languages. So, for example, in Arabic, people read the other way. But in most Western languages, people start on the left-hand side and read across. And what these studies show is that basically people's ability to consume information wanes away the more words there are. So in other words, they start by reading that and they're following what's being said in the email. And then as more and more words are added, so that wanes off. And the studies show, and the information shows that as it starts to get to the longer period, especially if these people don't know you, for example, the longer it goes on, the worse it is. It just basically, you start to see this heat map that shows people watching the red where they're watching the email at the start and through to the end where it gets completely cold. In other words, they trail off, they lose interest, they forget about things. They're not interested at that point. It's too much information for them. So the second thing I always say to people about your emails that you're doing to cold prospecting emails is make them 50 to 75 words. And again, we've all got Word, counts on our tools, Google and Word documents. Make your emails 50 to 75 words in the first few emails that you're doing. No more than that. 100 at best. But if you're saying to me, well, I can't get in there about all our services and all these different things that we offer and whatever else, then you're going to fail. And I've tried this with emails that I've sent and created that are just too long and too windy. People just don't read them. So try and make your emails short and snappy. People's attention spans now are very short, especially when it comes to people in business they don't know we engage with. So the subject lines are important, but the email itself, they haven't got time to read War and Peace. What they need to be able to do is to be able to understand, A, create some curiosity, or B, get a sense of what you might be able to help them do quite quickly as a result of that. And so, one of the other things that I say to people, if you've only got 50 to 75 words, please, please, please don't wee all over your prospects. What I mean by weeing all over, dear Mr. Prospect, we are a company that does this. We have been in business for this many years. We provide a solution for this. We help people like this. We would like to meet with you. We. Prospects don't care about that. They don't care about your views on what you're good, your company. They have this split second, probably 10 seconds, when they look at that email to read what you're saying and think, is this relevant and interesting to me? Is this going to make a difference in my world? Is this a bit cute? It's a bit intriguing. Maybe it's a bit funny, and we'll talk about comedy in a moment. Is it a bit different? Okay, what is this? And the reality is, in most cases, they're still going to delete it as if they even open it. And again, we know most people don't even open the emails. But the reality is, you sending out a long email is not going to work. Or if it is going to work, it's going to be a small percentage of the people it's going to work for. So one of the things that I also see people start to, as well as weeing all over people, they ask, and I'm going to be blunt with this. People might disagree with me. If you disagree with me, let me know. Let me know in the comment section. But they also send a message that says, we'd like to work with you. Here's a link to my Calendary link to book a time in my diary. Now, when I think about this with people, I go, wow, okay. So you're trying to sell something or promote a service to that person, and you're making that person, A, try and have a meeting with you before they even have got to know you. It's too soon. It's it's not the right time to do that. But you're then making them work to do it. So don't get me wrong, I'm all for Calendly links. Calendly links or diary links are brilliant when used at the right time, but not in a first prospecting email when you're expecting someone to book an appointment with you after you just seen an email with you. And if they are going to do that, it's probably 1% or 2% of people are going to, it's luck. It's luck that your email's landed in their inbox at the right time, rather than the fact that works as a strategy. So please avoid sending Calendly links to say book a time with me. I would even say to you in the first few emails, send in an email that says, can I book time with you? Can you give me 30 minutes of time? Doesn't work either. Because the most precious thing that I have as a business owner and a sales professional is my time. And why would I give my time to someone in a role that I don't know and I've never built any trust with? My time is I don't have 30 minutes to give away to everyone. I wish I did, but I don't. So the reality is, if you're asking for my time, as well as weeing all over me and saying how great your company is, I'm going to delete your email straight away, and I'm probably going to basically go, put a cross against your company. I'm going to make you think you're a bunch of idiots and you're a salesperson that I don't want to have a conversation with. So those are the things of what not to do. What are the things to do? And you haven't got long to do it. You've got this 50 to 100 word space to do it. As I said at the start with the subject line, creating curiosity. So one of the things that we did within the surgical company, for example, was we said to, we put onto their emails a statement. And the statement was really simple. It said, a surgeon who renewed with us last week told us we were 24% more expensive than an alternative provider, but he still decided to stay with us. There is a reason why. Can I share it with you? So, by the way, this email isn't perfect. I'm not saying you should follow that exact structure, but what that tries to do is, it builds a bit of trust initially. In other words, this organisation works with, insurance company works with surgeons. It said, a surgeon who renewed with us. So in other words, that says we have clients that work with us. But it's also then creating this curiosity of this. They told us we were 24% more expensive, but he still decided to stay with us. So in other words, there is this that happened. And by the way, this was the subject line that said 24% more. We're not giving much away there. We're not saying much, but we're creating that curiosity in the mind of the other person. What we're looking for when we do emails like this is what I would call a response, or initially, it's to get them to show that they're around. I used to use the phrase, and maybe people don't like the phrase, but it's proof of life. Are you there? Are you there? Are you visible? Can we do something together? So the whole idea of it was we want to create this curiosity about a potential situation or a potential problem, and we then want to be in a position where we then say, but they decided to do something. Can I share why? Or there is a reason why. Can I share it with you? So the whole idea is in that situation there, we're trying to make the other people go, well, why would someone that's 24% more expensive go stay with that company? I don't understand. Well, okay, well, yeah, go on, show me why. And because they give that response back, and we've had about, the email went out to, I think it was about 150 people, and we've had about 15 to 20 people come back saying, go, show me why. So the point being is we created that hook to bring people in, which was key. So emails like this are good. The other way you could also do this, you could also talk about a problem. Now, it's really important that you talk about a problem that's specific to that audience. I always talk about how sales is about relevance. And if you are talking to people about something that's relevant to them, people are going to engage. So if people say, for example, to me, I'm wearing a blue shirt right now. If people say to me, I specifically work with sales trainers that have beards, that wear blue shirts, that love golf, that live in Somerset, that drive a BMW, I'm going, but that's me. Oh, wow. So what is it you've got? Because it's relevant. It talks to me. It's who I am. If someone says, I work with consultants, I go, well, so what? So sales is all about relevance. So maybe what you need to do, maybe what you need to do within your email is make sure you create a problem, talk about a problem that that audience has, okay, that you can then relate to. So example that might be, in my situation, I'm working, let's say it was targeted not at coaches, but at sales mentors. When I've seen something in an email that says, I specifically work with sales mentors to help them do this, this, and this, or I've seen typically sales mentors are frustrated that they have great insights but can't share that knowledge with other people. Can I share with you a method of how to do this? Whilst I'm not completely convinced I'm going to reply to it, I'm more inclined to reply to it because I'm like, oh, right, well, that's me. Okay, and that's interesting. Okay, how am I going to do that? So being specific and talking about a problem that you have or that they have, so your audience has, and how they can overcome that and giving them that element, can I share with you? Can I share a resource? Can I send something through to you? You're far more likely to get a reply of course, okay, send it on, than if you basically ask for time. Because what the whole idea is you're trying to do is build up that engagement where you might share that resource or might share that information, and hopefully then you can then follow up and say, how did you find it? Was it useful? Or what you should then do is also combine that email with a call where you give them a call and say, hey, look, you asked for the information. Just wanted I shared a guide or resource with you. Tell me your thoughts. What are you thinking? It enables you to open up the conversation. So emails that focus on the problem like that, or give a bit of curiosity, or try and share a problem or a situation, are more likely to get those results. But again, you've only got 50 to 75 words to do that. So the final point I'd also say to you about emails that work in this respect are try and make sure that you add a bit of, if you can, add a bit of humour into it. Now, I did a video a week or so ago on the power of the PS. Now, the power of the PS is really important. So, and there are a bit of humour. There was a brilliant. I'll try and share the example of this email this guy sent, where he added some humour in, and he basically put, it was at the second or third email he'd sent to someone, and it was a CEO that sent me the message because he said he found it really funny, and it basically said, if I haven't heard from you, I'm assuming that you're, hoping that you're alive still, but if you have happened to emigrate to the island of Guadeloupe and you meet a lady on the beach called Francine that's got blonde hair, tell her I love her. Right? Which made the CEO that I was, talking to laugh. He was like, yeah, that's quite funny, actually. Right? The fact that, in other words, he came up with a funny situation as to why the email hadn't been responded to. And it made that person give a bit of fun, a bit of humour, reply back and say, that's really funny. So the point is, you've got to create that hook, and humour is a good way to sometimes do this. So there have been some, reports of emails in the past that said, please reply back with a number. Number one, you've been kidnapped by a group of pirates, or you were eaten by an alligator, or whatever else. And that sort of stuff's a bit naff, but try and get a bit of humour in it. Just try and put some stuff in there that can make people, have a bit of curiosity. Or bit of makes them smile or makes them think, because they may not even reply to you, but when the next email comes in, or if you do engage with them consistently over time, or you get a call from you think, oh, he's the guy that sent that message, she's the lady that sent that, okay, and it's going to incline them, it will give them a better chance to engage with you. So don't forget the power of the PS. And people ask, can I send the PS? Does the PS need to be more than 50 to 75 words? If it's a really good PS, like the one I just shared, yes, it can be. The body of the email should still be 50 to 75 words, but the PS can be an additional thing to that. But the other final point around the emails that I'm saying is only have one call to action. So one of the times you'll see a lot of people do is they'll put links everywhere and they'll ask for different things. When you're engaging with a prospect for the first time, just give one call to action. Can I share this with you? Would you like the resource? Or give them a link to click, for example, or join our webinar now, for example. Don't have multiple call to actions in there. You'll confuse the person, and they'll get a bit, they'll get lost out of track of what you're doing, and it just won't work. So, and try different calls to action. You might try a link to a webinar. You might try a link to a brochure. You might try a reply back to this email to get it, whatever. But just try a few things, but have one call to action. So look, there's my advice, and it's been quite a specific podcast today. I hope you found it really helpful and useful. People want to generate results in business, and they use email a lot, and I use email myself. It's an important tool. It doesn't, the numbers are showing that email on its own doesn't sometimes get you the results. If you combine it with other tools, other methods, you will. If you're not sure, you haven't got time to do this, and you want someone to do it, let me know. I've got a team of people that will help you with this as well. But the point being is, don't do the long-winded, convoluted, I'm this and we are this and this is how great we are stuff. It just doesn't work. And if it is, it's luck rather than judgment, and you're gonna basically put people off you rather than warm them to you as a company. So look, that's the subject for today. I hope it's helpful. Let me know if it is. But as I always do, I try and finish the podcast on an inspirational story. So I wanted to share a story of a guy called James Ellington today. So James Ellington, he was an Olympic sprinter. So he did the 100 meters, by the way. We've just been watching the Paris Olympics at the moment. Incredible what the guys are doing out there. And, I was watching the 100 meter final the other day, and James Ellington was a 100 meter sprinter, and he did the 100 meters in under 10 seconds, which is, I'm not sure if I'd do it in under 100 seconds, let alone 10 seconds. But he did it in under 10 seconds in the 2012 Olympics. He had an incredible, promising career as an Olympian. And then he was at the World Championships in 2017 and basically fell off a motorcycle and had a motorcycle crash and broke his ankle, his pelvis, his leg, and was told he would never compete again. And but yet 2019, even though everyone said he couldn't do it, everyone said it wasn't popular, it wasn't possible, he was able to, back in 2019, get back on the track again and run speeds again near 10 seconds. And I use that story as an example of someone that had massive goals and dreams of what they wanted to achieve. Brilliant story, who, probably had everything taken away from him. Everyone told him he couldn't do it, but then, returned back to come back and get to his page where he was at a level that was just incredible performance athlete. So James now, retired in 2023 and helps sprinters and other young people that are going through trying to become Olympians. But I just use that as a story of sometimes we have setbacks that knock us back, even when we've achieved big things. But if we put our mind to it and believe it, we can achieve anything we want to. And I think James Ellington's story is a great example of how, with belief and dedication, we can achieve what we want to and get back to where we were, even if we've had setbacks. So use James's story as a good example. But if you've got a motivational story, please let me know. Put it into the podcast. We'd love to share some different examples of that. But up until, I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. If you have, make sure you send those emails to get the response you want. Make sure those subject lines are punchy and curious. And please like and share the podcast, share it with other people. If this is a great episode, let that other people see that it can help them. But until next week, have a brilliant, safe week ahead and see you then. Take care.